The ancient town of Vic is located away from the gentle Mediterranean beaches, a little away from the marvelous Pyrenean mountains, on the Catalan plain, which is as flat as a desk. It was founded in the 3rd century BC, you know where, at the crossroads of ancient trade routes. Where else could it be? These ways have long tied the north and the south, Spain with the rest of Europe, residents of the coast with the population of the mountains. Modern Vic is a small town. Slightly more than 40,000 people live in it, and each of them will tell you that the town owes its appearance on the map to the market a lot. Several times a week, the market makes noise on the central town square called Plaza Mayor. It is worth visiting, firstly because it's one of the most ancient markets not only in Catalonia but also in the whole Spain, and secondly, this market is interesting for tourists, travel journalists, and great surrealists. Well, you're probably sitting and thinking, why I'm telling you so much detail about Salvador Dalí? I'll explain it now. The point is that, being a Catalan, Salvador Dalí loved to paint Catalan products. He imported his own surreal sense in each of them. Well, now imagine that I am Salvador Dalí. I understand that it's difficult, but try. My muse, Yelena Diakonova, is beside me. By this time, she's already become Gala. The role of Gala is performed by a hereditary Hispanist, Cristina Ionitskaya. Cristina, where are we?
Call me Gala now.
Oh, Gala, where are we?
Dear Salvador, we are at the market in Vic. Vic is one of the oldest cities of Catalonia, and the market has worked from the 9th century here. It is visited by people from all over Catalonia, to buy local Catalan products before lunch.
Yeah.
And after lunch, all the tents will be removed from here, and the cafe tables will be put up to make it possible to discuss the purchases and all the Catalan news.
Wow!
How about going and buying something?
Let's go, it's time. The town of Vic is situated in the heart of Catalonia. It's faster and easier to get here from Barcelona just by car, rented or private. In this case, you should move due north from Barcelona on the highway C17. Distance, 72 kilometers. The journey will take you 1 hour exactly. As Salvador Dalí, I want to tell you that eggs are my favorite product. I find them to be a symbol of a maternal womb, a symbol of constant rebirth of life on Earth. I love eggs so much that all the master builders were having bad time when I made them decorate all my houses with eggs.
Port Ligat,
In Port Ligat,
Theatre Museum,
and my house museum.
in Figueres.
In Figueres. Can I be sure that these are real Catalan eggs, Cristina?
Tell me, are these local eggs?
Of course, these are the best eggs of those that you can buy in our region.
Well, as a seller of eggs, why do you think eggs were the most popular product for Salvador Dalí?
I don't know, but I assume that the egg is a symbol of the universe's beginning. Everything in this world began with an egg.
Give him my compliments and tell him that we met such intelligent sellers only in St. Petersburg. A dozen eggs cost €4.50. Is there any special Catalan dish cooked from eggs?
Listen, the most delicious one is tortilla, and it's Catalan tortilla. It differs from the Spanish one.
Yeah.
There must be potatoes and onions there. Actually, the onion makes the most important difference, and sometimes in different villages, beans can be added. By the way, let's buy some beans because they are also your favorite symbol.
Oh yes, some historical background, my friends. Beans were a symbol of cannibalism for Salvador Dalí.
And violence.
And violence. And what can you tell about beans?
First of all, beans are tasty and healthy.
Well, the main thing is that the members of the Association of World Cannibals would disagree with you. Catalan beans are on average €2 per kilo. The price depends on their size and variety. Cherries, and the topic of cherries and Salvador Dalí, is much more interesting than cannibalism and beans. As cherries are grown in pairs all the time, one cherry always meant innocence for Salvador Dalí, and the other meant experience in its broadest sense. Have you eaten one cherry from despair, innocence, or experience?
Well, think about our relationship and you'll understand everything.
By the way, a kilo of cherries is not sold for almost 700 rubles in our cold Russia, even in the most expensive supermarkets in the harshest winter. Thermal cherries, fine price, €9 per kilo. One more product which was especially loved by Salvador Dalí. There is a historical fact. One day Salvador Dalí met Sigmund Freud, and one morning, leaving after the meeting, he noticed a snail. Quiet, tranquilo. Thank you, thank you. And so once, leaving Sigmund Freud's place, he saw a snail crawling on the bike. And what do you think this snail reminded him of? Being soft inside, solid from the outside. You're right, Sigmund Freud's head. Can you imagine what they had been doing there? The old Sigmund and him. Tell me, and what do you think about when you look at a snail?
I think it's rather tasty. I would rather eat it.
By the way, how much is a kilo?
€8.
2 pounds of the most agile snails in the world, €8. You know, I want to save the snail which was fighting for its life until the last moment, trying to escape from my hands. Here it is. I have even remembered its face. I'll call you Sigmund and I'll talk to you in the evening.
Salvador, a lady wonders why you have shoved off your mustache.
Explain to the lady why I did it, and meanwhile I'll tell what Salvador Dalí and honey have to do with it. We all remember his famous antenna-shaped mustache. This shape was achieved by him not with the help of any hair styling gel, but with the help of honey. Well, firstly, it holds shape well, and secondly, honey attracted bees and flies, which Salvador Dalí loved more than people. That's what we have in common with him, actually.
Do you know what the Catalans and the Russians have in common?
Well?
That here in Catalonia, they like eating cottage cheese with honey, just like we do in Russia.
Oh, really?
It's called Meliamato.
Which honey is the best to use for cosmetic purposes?
Take this one. I don't know how about cosmetic purposes, but this one is the most delicious and rare. This is elm honey.
A 300-gram jar of elm honey for €4.50 exactly. Look, Gala, what beautiful bread. What a wonderful product.
Of course, and you think it's the most ingenious invention of mankind.
Why? Because
I don't know why.
water, earth, fire, and human labor connected in it in the most harmonious way.
The divine.
And the divine. No wonder bread adorns my personal museum in the city of
Figueres.
Figueres. It's all full of bread. Give me some bread, stranger.
I recommend you this one. It was baked this morning, of pure white wheat. Here is another one with quinoa seeds. But this is better. Buy and eat for your health.
But before we eat it, I need it for my creative work. We'll take it. A hunk of bread for €3. The paintings of Salvador Dalí cannot be mistaken for the ones by someone else because he managed to create a few definitely recognizable images. For example, an elephant on the legs of an ant, or a sofa in the shape of lips, or his most famous image, a liquid dial. When I worked on this painting, there was a ready landscape for it, well, the same one that can be seen from the windows of our workshop in
Portligat.
Portligat. But I couldn't finish the painting. Something was pestering me all the time. I couldn't think of a particular item. And suddenly, I was sitting during the siesta, eating lunch, and I saw the sunbeams, which began to melt the cheese. I'd say Eureka if I was Greek, and thus I completed my picture with these current dials. And what did you say then, Gala?
And at that moment, I came from the movies.
Yeah.
And when I saw the finished painting, I said that whoever saw it would never forget it. And that's why Your painting called The Persistence of Memory is the most popular painting of yours, dear Salvador.
And the liquid clock is one of his most famous images thanks to the cheeses, but more details about cheeses will be told to us by the owner of this store.
Several local cheeses are represented in our store. You know, an international competition of cheesemakers is annually held in the English Birmingham. We took the gold medal at this competition in 2012 and the silver one in 2010. This cheese is made from sheep and goat milk. There is also a cheese with rosemary.
It's far less smelly than the French one. It's got a more delicate flavor, and it's rich in its shades. Because in Paris, of course, French cheese is impossible to eat.
There is also a 100% pollutant-free cheese. To make it, you need to provide the cattle with only ecologically clean animal food in pastures, which haven't been fertilized by any chemicals for at least 10 years. I recommend them to you.
Cheese with rosemary. There can be a more pollutant-free one. €10 per kilo. Remember it yourself and tell the others. Catalonia isn't only the best meat, but also the best fish. In fact, I have already mentioned at the beginning, this autonomous region of Spain is washed by the gentle Mediterranean Sea, full of the most delicious fish and seafood. And if the best sausages in Catalonia can be bought in Vic, the best fish and seafood can be purchased in the city of Rosas. Rosas is located 170 kilometers away from Barcelona. It takes 2 hours to overcome this distance by car if you drive due north along E15 highway without turning anywhere. Rosas is the mecca of Catalan fishermen, both amateurs and professionals. Here the rules are set by the mysterious brotherhood of fishermen, which I will tell you about a bit later. Several times a week, a long-standing fish auction takes place at the local port, and I invite you to visit it. There are just a few seconds before its beginning. So this is a trawler. It has just come to the port. The guys are unloading the caught fish. The fishermen are in the red. They've spent an average of €600 only on the fuel. Now this fish is to overcome literally 100 meters by land to the place where the fish auction is about to be held. In this place, fish gets to the conveyor and passes the serious senor, who instantly evaluates it. The price comprises... By the way, senor, how's the price set?
The price depends on supply and demand on a particular fish.
Thus, in this place, the fish gets its price. Next, the fish gets here into this hall where the auction takes place. These lovely people behind my back aren't playing bingo, but they're taking part in this auction. The auction is held on the Dutch system, and the head of the Brotherhood of Fishermen, Senor Juan, will tell us what the Dutch system is.
Good evening. The Dutch auction system is when the highest price for the goods is announced at trading first. After that, the rate starts to decline until the point at which the first buyer agrees. He is the one who gets the goods. A characteristic feature is that it's a wholesale auction where the seller can display many items simultaneously.
Senor Juan, what's the Brotherhood of Fishermen?
It was founded in Rosas in 1921. This is an alliance which is composed of all local fishermen who are officially licensed. There are 200 members in our Brotherhood. The members of the Brotherhood can sell fish only here.
Senor Juan, and now could you explain what is happening on this screen?
Of course. There is the initial price of the lot. It depends on the prices for the same fish that has been set today. The price gradually falls down. There is a limit to which it can decrease. It is €0.5. If nobody buys the fish, it is moved away from trading. But this usually doesn't happen.
I'm sorry for asking, but here is Catalonia. You're all a bit identity nuts. And what's so Catalan in this auction?
I would say that first of all is the quality of the fish. You won't find fresher fish than from us anywhere. And there isn't a greater diversity of fish anywhere. Don't even hesitate.
This is Pau. He is the captain. Pau, how much have you earned today?
Today we caught about 20 kilos of shrimp and sold them for 45 euros per kilo. 10 kilos of lobsters to 15 euros per kilo. We also caught a lot of capelines and flatfish. They were sold from the auction for 8 euros per liter. Our usual catch amounted to 1,500 euros today.
Now we subtract 600 euros, the money spent by the trawler on fuel, from 1,500 and get 900 euros of net profit. Then we divide this amount by the number of fishermen in Pau's crew, and we get 100 euros exactly. Pau and his crew earned 100 euros each in one day. In my opinion, it's more than a modest fee for such hard and valuable work. I know you fish. We first met on the fisherman's boat. Then I saw you at the auction. And now, in less than an hour, you got on the counter in the fish shop. The final part of the Catalan mathematics will be told to you by the owner of the fish shop, Senor Gaspar. You're welcome.
The markup on fish depends on its class.
Yeah.
The markup on ordinary fish is only 10% of the price of the purchase at the auction. The markup on more delicious and noble fish ranges from 20 to 25%. The same applies to the seafood. For example, here's a brill. It's a relative of flatfish. It's a very valuable fish. The markup on it averages 22%. This is the most expensive fish in Rosas.
Muchas gracias. That's all for now. Finally, I'll tell you the 3 main Catalan words: disfrutar la vida, meaning enjoy life. This is the fundamental principle for the Catalans, which actually makes life worth living. From their point of view, it's always necessary to enjoy life, being engaged in creative work, managing a restaurant, trading at the market, making sausage, and catching fish. It's impossible for the Catalans to enjoy life without working. Having traveled around this amazing region of Spain all over, I responsibly declare that Catalonia is Spain, minus the siesta, because while all people have fun and relax together in other Spanish cities and villages, in Catalonia they have fun and work together. They live as God grants. That's the main thing that you need to know about Catalonia. Finally, a few more important things. Let's revise the previous material. Firstly, of course there's fresh fish everywhere here. The Mediterranean Sea is around. But if you want to get the freshest fish, head to the town of Rosas for it. Find a store which is located in Porto, in the immediate vicinity of the auction. There you can buy the freshest fish, which was caught an hour ago, for a very good price, because it was immediately sold at an electronic fish auction. You can't take part in the auction unless you're an authorized member of the Fisherman Brotherhood, but you can buy fish at the store with just a small extra charge. Secondly, if you're a fan of markets like me, spend some time and find a small town called Vic on the map. You might not immediately succeed. Go there. The oldest market in Catalonia is situated there. It's not much advertised yet, so there are few tourists, but many products, and they all are local, organic and delicious, and the atmosphere there is great. Thirdly, when you're in Vic and want some sausage, find the shop of Senor Santi. One and the same family have already produced and sold the best sausage in Catalonia there for 150 years. Just mention my name and you'll get a discount. Well, or you won't. And the last one, Catalonia is the birthplace of Salvador Dalí. Visit the places associated with his name, at least Fort Ligat, Cadaqués, Figueres. Breathe the air which the great artist breathed. Look at the landscapes which Salvador Dalí contemplated. Eat the food he ate. Compare your rich inner world with the imagination of the artist. Then try to create something. Perhaps you'll succeed.